So, is anyone else disappointed after they try on the Casiotron? No, this is not a Casiotron. I think this is the A1100, but I want to talk about the Casiotron watch because I had the opportunity to try the black and gold one, and when I tried it on my wrist, I was quite surprised and a little disappointed. So I just wanted to kind of share what happened and just share my thoughts on the watch and see if anybody else out there can relate. So the other day I just happened to be at the mall and I walked into this higher end watch store and I asked them, oh, if they have any G-Shocks, and they did. And so I was looking through a lot of the G-Shocks. A lot of them were the metal ones, MRG, and sitting right there in the display, just just like a regular watch, was the black and gold Casiotron. And I told the lady I didn't even know that was available. As of that day, it wasn't even for sale on the Casio website. We knew the price being $600, but we did not know when it would be available. And so of course I just asked her, can I just try it on? And she's like, of course you can try it on. I got to try it on, and of course it has the black and gold trim, very nice details on a lot of the individual parts of the watch itself, but I didn't like it. And it was just a lot of things that surprised me with that watch because this is the third version of this watch. There was the one, the re-release that came out, I think, earlier this year. It was the kind of gray silver with the blue, and then they had the gold blue, and then now this black and gold one. And this one for sure was the one that I was like, okay, as soon as it comes out, I'm gonna try and order one. I'm glad I got to try it on, but this was not what I expected. And I think for a lot of people who end up buying Casiotron, I'm just curious because I would assume most people are buying them online only, and then they just get it shipped to their house rather than going out to like a Casio or a G-Shock store. So that's why it was good in a way. I got to try it on. Let me widen this out a little bit. But I was just very, very shocked. So the first thing that really surprised me was the size of the dial. Now I have a very small wrist. I have 6.25-inch wrist, and from here to here, I got about 2 inches. So I have to be very selective on the watches that I do have because I'm primarily targeting, smaller watches. 40 millimeters, probably about the max I do want to go, though I've been able to pull off bigger watches. And maybe 36 at the low end. I have the it was the MDV 10, the baby Duro. That one's actually quite small. But when I tried on the Casiotron, I looked at my wrist. I was like, whoa, it looks small. I don't know the exact dimensions. It's hard to tell because what they provide online versus the real dimensions, sometimes it doesn't always match up, at least from the Casio website. A lot of reviews of the previous versions, I'm assuming they're exactly the same. But I was actually very surprised. It was smaller than I thought. And I like small watches, but this one was smaller than I thought. And on top of that, I think what made it even stranger for me was not only was it a small watch, but it was a very thick watch. And I'm used to, if the watches are going to be small, I'm used to like very, very thin watches. This one, when I looked at it from the side, like looking down, it looked like a hockey puck. I mean, it was definitely thicker than I thought. And so I was a little disappointed at the dimensions. Again, I'm glad I got to try it on because had I ordered it and received it, I would have been like, whoa, this definitely looks different than what it appears to be online. Now, for this particular watch, the black and gold one, there's a negative display, which I'm pretty much done with negative display Casio watches because it's just too difficult to read. However, I thought, well, maybe this one would be better, right? I'm thinking online. I'm thinking, oh, it's gonna be okay, right? But as I looked at the numbers, it just wasn't legible. Now I know the pictures online, like they almost like brighten up the numbers, so it makes it seem like, oh wow, it's gonna be really easy to read. But from what I saw in the store, and this is a watch store lighting, I had a really hard time actually seeing the numbers. And it wasn't just that it was illegible, but it almost seemed like the numbers were faded. Now, I don't know if that's because maybe it was indoors and maybe it needed more light. I don't think so. But it just almost felt like the numbers on the digital display were almost faded, and you really can't beat the positive display. It's so much easier to read. And so I'm standing there talking to the saleswoman, and I'm just thinking to myself, for $600, I'm not sure the value is quite there. Maybe for $200, and not necessarily for this special model. Maybe if they brought back the gray, silver, bluish one, but not numbered, not limited, just like a general one for everyone, then maybe for $200, maybe 250, I might be like, okay, the value is there because it has the solar, I think it has the atomic, not really great water resistance, but that's okay. It's more like a legacy piece where it's really a throwback to the original Casiotron. But I think at $600 for me now, I don't really see that value. And maybe for other people who bought the original Casiotron, there's a lot of sentimental value to it, and so maybe they're willing to throw down $600 or I think was it like $500, $550, now $600. I don't know, it keeps going up in price. But for me, I just didn't see the value. And you know what? Maybe it was because I was wearing it at a luxury watch store, and it was amongst all these other watches, and so maybe it just kind of felt small because it's a digital watch, and you got all these very, very expensive watches around, and it it made it sort of feel cheap by comparison. But never has a watch so quickly lost interest to me than that Casiotron. It was quite a disappointment because originally I'm looking at 2025. And I was thinking, okay, that is the year I'm finally gonna get a Casiotron. Okay, well, it's probably gonna be the black and gold one, but depending on availability, if it sells out real fast, I can wait. But I want a Casiotron in my Casio collection. But based on that experience, I really don't. I actually don't want it anymore, and that surprises me because maybe I built up too high expectations. But man, just trying it on for myself, I'm glad I got to try it on. I don't want to like hate on the watch, and I would definitely encourage people, if they're interested, if they have that sentimental attachment to that model, legacy model, I think it's cool to add to your collection. But for the price, I was just so surprised how it just didn't look good. It didn't feel good to me. It was kind of a letdown. Now again, I will say it was so unexpected to see it because I had seen, the pictures online, even the leaked rumors online, and then of course when they posted it on the Casio website, notify me or it's upcoming. So I was waiting, but to see it sitting there, and I could have bought it, I don't know, when was that? I think I saw it in October. It was just sitting there, and I was like, wow, that's the watch, and to have the opportunity to try it. And just, it wasn't what I thought it was. Again, that doesn't mean it's a bad watch, but as someone who was really excited about the Casiotron, particularly the black and gold one, that sort of up, and then it's sort of a kind of a letdown, and I guess I was just very, very surprised. I do think that this does show the importance of trying on watches and seeing the watch in person. I know I buy a lot of watches online. I return the ones that I don't like. They fit weird, but I do see now the importance of actually trying on some of these watches. And it's hard here in the US because we don't generally have, Casio stores. We might have department stores like Macy's, but a lot of the other watch specific stores are not going to really carry, a lot of the other Casios. Maybe the high-end G-Shocks, again, the MRG, but they're not really going to carry it to try on. And I think for me that this is one of the reasons why when it comes to the Oceanus line, which is on my radar, it's still on my radar. I'm working my way up there. I started with the digitals and Edifice and ProTrek and G-Shocks and stuff. I'm getting there. Okay, I'm getting there. But when it comes to Oceanus, I think it's the reason why I do want to go and try it on in person in Japan. And I'm looking forward to that opportunity, to go and try on, see it in person. I'd love to hear what people have to think about the Casiotron, whether they have one or not, whether they're looking forward to the black and gold. Again, if it has value, sentimental value to it, I think, sure, add it to the collection. It was on my radar. It was going to be the watch I was going to try and get, but it was just serendipitous that it happened to be there randomly, and I got to try it on, and I just Yeah, I was just very surprised. Again, for someone with a very small wrist, I thought it was too small. It might be because maybe the display was too small, the digital display. I don't know what it is. It was small, it was thick. It really wasn't what I expected. And I think if I do want that sort of circle design, I might go with like an A 171, which is it's close, but I know it's not the same, but it's close if I just want the look for way less money. So I'd love to hear what people have to think about their Casiotrons, whether they bought one and they were disappointed, or maybe they're just not interested. But I was just so shocked. One, that I could try it on, but two, it just wasn't really what I thought. So just wanted to share my thoughts, and thanks for watching.